The Saudi League's antitrust lawsuit against the PGA Tour has turned this battle for golfing dominance into an all-out war. But with players now backing out after threats from the tour, the field is getting increasingly smaller from Greg Norman's side. So, who is the latest defector to pull out? And will his absence shift the tide in Jay Monahan's favor? Well, keep watching to find out. First up, OG LIV member backs out of the antitrust lawsuit. The breakaway league has been on a hiring spree lately, with big names like Cameron Smith floating about in the rumor hill. Somewhere along its pursuit of acquiring new talent, though, it seems to be losing a bit of steam for keeping its older members happy. For instance, just over the past couple of weeks, we've seen some LIV golfers pleading with the PGA Tour to let them take part in the postseason playoff. That being said, this recent move from one of the original 11 members might actually prove to be a disaster for Greg Norman. Now, if you don't know, some of the most prominent Saudi League names, like Phil Mickelson and Bryson DeChambeau, have come together and filed an antitrust lawsuit for, well, trying to maintain its quote-unquote monopoly. And Bryson DeChambeau have come together and filed an antitrust lawsuit for, well, trying to maintain its quote-unquote monopoly. But after the initial push, it looks like some of the members aren't quite sure how they feel about it. So now, after Carlos Ortiz moved on from the suit earlier this week, Perez has also decided to join him in renouncing his stance and surrendering the fight against his former employer. The 46-year-old inked a 4-year deal with LIV last year with a $10 million payout and is one of the OG members of Norman's startup. And it seems like his initial involvement in the lawsuit may have come about due to the tour suspending him. In fact, according to him, he joined the effort out of loyalty to other players. So what prompted Perez to do a U-turn and pull out? It's always tricky when you're a high-profile sportsman and have to change your stance over an idea that you subscribe to. After all, it kinda led to people questioning the integrity of your words. Besides, it's not like LIV stars have the best reputations right now when it comes to this sort of stuff anyway. Having said that, Perez is big enough to see the error of his ways and come clean. And according to him, it all just comes down to the fact that he didn't think his decision through. Speaking to SI about the lawsuit, the 46-year-old said he did it to back his guys and that he doesn't actually have any feelings toward the PGA Tour or any of its members. Also, while he's obviously an integral part of the Saudi League, he doesn't feel the need to go after the tour. To be fair to him, though, it is the undeniable truth that he's here because of the association, so it'd be a bit weird if he did harbor hard feelings toward them. That said, he still reiterated that he wasn't handed anything on a silver platter and earned everything that he got out there. It's just that he's chosen to put that time behind him and isn't gonna get involved in a feud that doesn't have anything to do with him. Up next, Perez has made peace with the PGA Tour's suspension. Now, the reason why we're in the middle of this drama in the first place is obviously the tour's decision to suspend LIV defectors. We mean, while they did sign contracts with the Saudi League, that didn't technically strip them from their PGA memberships, so they kinda felt like it wasn't fair to have major events close their doors on them. Of course, the association seems to think otherwise, as according to them, the players knew what they were opting for and that repercussions were inevitable. And ever since, it's been a back and forth between the two parties. Perez, on the other hand, seems to have found solace in the fact that he has everything that he could ever need in Norman's camp and doesn't feel envious of those who get to compete in the PGA events. According to him, he chose to leave and he's not looking back. Obviously, that doesn't necessarily mean that he doesn't want to play on the Champions Tour someday, but at the same time, it wouldn't be a big deal if he doesn't get to either. Plus, going after the tours is only gonna hinder his chances of ever making it into the high-profile competition. Oh, and again, the 46-year-old's still got an incredible deal with LIV and is pretty much sorted for life. We mean, even if you look at this year's winnings, he's already earned almost $2 million by competing in 2 tournaments. Now, there could be another reason behind the star's move. Let's face it, these are turbulent times in golf, so nothing's really set in stone, and in a way, that could mean even further movement from stars other than just Perez. That being said, isn't it a bit strange that 2 players have come out to rescind their stance within the same week? Like, obviously, it could be just pure coincidence, but judging by how things are going with the tour, we could be looking at something wider as well. We mean, over the past couple of weeks, the PGA Commissioner, Jay Monahan, has done some incredible work to bring his organization on an even footing with Norman's upstart league. For instance, he's brought some pretty big changes to the prize money structure to keep members happy. Even more important than that, though, is the fact that the big man himself, Tiger Woods, has taken care of the situation and is now leading the tour through these changing times. Like, not only has he suggested switching up the entire format to match LIV, but he's also introduced a whole new structure to bring more funding into the sport. And perhaps it's the 15-time major winners efforts that have borne fruit and made people think twice before fully cutting their ties with the PGA. PGA. After all, signs do point toward them clawing their way back into the competition after losing so many of their biggest stars. Also, the LIV Golf lawsuit could get ugly real fast. The tour becoming a more viable and attractive option is only part of the story. And even though these developments are probably playing a big role in every player's mind right now, LIV Golf's antitrust lawsuit is just as important. Now, the thing with the lawsuit losing steam is that the PGA Tour's increasingly looking like it's gonna steamroll through it. We mean Greg Norman might have some valid points about the way Jay Monahan operates with his ban hammer, but accusing players like Woods and McIlroy of being on the tour's payroll is maybe too much of a stretch. On top of that, there's the recent denial from a federal judge as well, which has kind of set a new precedent for similar cases. Of course, we're talking about 3 Saudi League members wanting entry into the postseason playoffs by challenging their suspension in court. According to the ruling, though, their LIV contracts were already big enough to compensate for the inability to take part in some of these major events. Basically, what this means is that Norman's golfers can't complain about the suspensions because they knew about the repercussions before signing that contract. And honestly, we expect the antitrust case to go down a similar route as well. Like, we could literally see Monahan's grip on the game get even tighter in the coming months. So, not wanting to be in his bad books, Perez has kind of taken a step back and has chosen the diplomatic path instead. And finally, could this development sway the odds in the tour's favor? Okay, so this is a very complicated situation for everyone involved. We mean, on one hand, it looks like the PGA Tour is gaining a lot of ground ever since they pushed Tiger Woods forward to be their poster boy. But at the same time, Greg Norman isn't ready to back down just yet and is merely weeks away from announcing the signing of Cameron Smith, who's easily one of, if not the biggest golf star out there right now. So there's obviously a lot of back and forth between the two, and maybe that's why this is gonna be more like a long, drawn-out game of tug-of-war rather than one swift attack. Besides, we've got to remember that the lawsuit is at least gonna take a couple of months to be resolved, so it's legitimately gonna be a battle of wit and endurance. Having said that, if LIV Golf doesn't manage to sign another high-profile golfer like Smith in the next couple of weeks, then there's every chance that we could see the tide shifting in the tour's favor in front of our eyes. After all, it's not easy to go head-to-head against someone like Woods, who's arguably the most respected figure in the sport right now. Plus, again, that new suggested format looks like the real deal. What do you think, though? Has Pat Perez given his colleagues a headache by changing his mind? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.